Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Matajis, welcome back to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. And we are reading today from Canto 4, Chapter 6, entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. And we'll be reading from text 51 through 53, which is quite short. This would be the end of the chapter today. And the only thing is I don't mind reading and starting everything, but I'm expecting a guest. So for a short period of time, I'll have to step out because I have to give them something when they come to my house. So I hope that's okay. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Shri Chaitanya
Namo Vishtam Apitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tase Bhaktantikam
Sindhubhya eva cha Patitana
Namo
Namah.
Namaha.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram Rama Rama
Rama Hare Hare
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram
Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet
Nashtapraye
Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate
Bhagavati
Namaste Bhaktir Dinashniki.
Welcome to Sri Devi Mataji and welcome Of course, Sri Devi Mataji is not new. She was part of this class for some period of time and then she's back. So we're very happy to have you back. And Lavanya Mataji, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Our pleasure, Mataji. Yesterday I was not part of the reading, but I saw your names and I was very happy to have both of you. Thank you. Would any of you like to read text 51 through 53, so we can take turns to read it? Anybody would like to go first?
I could, no problem.
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you. Text 51. Jivatadhyajamanoyam prapadyetakshiní bhagaha mrigosmashruni rohantu Pushnodantascha purvavat. Translation. My dear Lord, by your mercy, the performer of the sacrifice, King Daksha, may get back his life. Bhaga may get back his eyes, Bhrigu his mustache, and Pusha his teeth. You want me to continue?
Sure, Mataji. It was very short.
Okay. Devanam bhagna gatranam ritvijam chayudhasmabhihi bhavatanu grihitanam ashumanyustva anaturam. Translation. O Lord Shiva, may the demigods and the priests whose limbs have been broken by your soldiers recover from the injuries by your grace. Text 53. Eshate rudra bhagostu yad uchishto dvarasya vai yagnaste rudra bhagena kalpatam adya yagnahan. Translation. I cannot see below the translation. It needs to be scrolled down. O destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. Purport. A sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by his activity. In other words, the aim of our activity should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as in an office, it's the duty of the worker to see that the proprietor or master is satisfied. So, everyone's duty is to see whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by one's activity. Activities to satisfy the Supreme Godhead are prescribed in the Vedic literature, and execution of such activities is called yajna. In other words, acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord is called yajna. One should know very well that any activity besides yajna is the cause of material bondage. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita 3:9. Yagnarthat karmano natra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Karma bandhanaha means that if we do not work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, then the reaction of our work will bind us. One should not work for his own sense gratification. Everyone should work for the satisfaction of God. That is yajna. Do you think everybody can take one paragraph and do like that? Rasa Manjari, Leela Manjari?
I can read, Mataji.
Yeah.
After the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expected prasada, the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Vishnu. Lord Shiva is one of the demigods, so naturally he also expected his share of the prasada from the yajna. But Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, neither invited Shiva to participate in the yajna nor gave him his share after the offering. But after the destruction of the yajna arena by the followers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma pacified him and assured him that he would get his share of prasada. Thus he was requested to rectify whatever destruction was caused by his followers. In Bhagavad Gita 3:11, it is said that all the demigods are satisfied when one performs yajna. Because the demigods expect prasada from yajnas, yajna must be performed. Those who engage in sense gratificatory materialistic activities must perform yajna, otherwise, they will be implicated. Thus, Daksha, being the father of mankind, was performing yajna, and Lord Shiva expected his share. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. By the mediation of Lord Brahma, however, everything was settled satisfactorily. There is still one more paragraph, Mataji. If anybody wants to read, they can continue.
Who else is on the call, Lavanya? Because I remember Leela Manjiri said that she will be leaving to attend to some guest. So Rohini Mataji can read, or Madhurasa Mataji can read, or Ruchi. Yeah, Madhurasa, go ahead.
The performance of yagya is a very difficult task because all the demigods must be invited to participate in the yagya. In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform such costly sacrifices, nor is it possible to invite the demigods to participate. Therefore, in this age, it is recommended. Yagya Sankirtana Pyair Yajantihi Sumedasaha Srimad Bhagavatam 11:532. Those who are intelligent should know that in the Kali Yuga there is no possibility of performing the Vedic sacrifices. But unless one pleases the demigods, there must be no regulated seasonal activities or rainfall. Everything is controlled by the demigods. Under the circumstances in this age, in order to keep the balance of social peace and prosperity, all intelligent men should execute the performance of Sankirtan Yagya by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should invite people, chant Hare Krishna, and then distribute prasad. This yagya will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there will be peace and prosperity in the world. Another difficulty in performing the Vedic rituals is that if one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of the many hundreds of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there should be disaster. There will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically. Thus, end of Bhaktivedanta purport of the fourth canto, sixth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma Satisfied Lord Shiva.
Jai, thank you. So it's very short, and the chapter is ending with these last three purports. So I guess since I began, I will just speak a little bit on those verses which I read, and then all of you can speak on whatever you have read. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So here it's very clear that when we try to satisfy the demigods, then we may not be able to satisfy. That's the basic summarization. And Shiva was not satisfied by this performance of King Daksha, or the sacrifice where Daksha insulted Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva then destroyed the soldiers. That's my understanding. May the demigods and priests whose limbs have been broken by your soldiers recover injuries by your grace. So they're praying to Lord Shiva that please restore all these people whom you have injured or destroyed. And then they plead with him that let the sacrifice be completed by your grace, or destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. So in that purport, basically what Srila Prabhupada wants us to understand is that everything can be adjusted and done very nicely simply by pleasing Hari. Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. That means simply by satisfying Lord Hari, everyone is satisfied and our work becomes blessed and successful and auspicious. Because why? Now you're working for the benefit of everyone because you're working for Krishna. So this should be the aim of everyone, how we are satisfying Krishna, whether we are satisfying Krishna. And how do we know that? By pleasing the spiritual master. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. Only by serving and pleasing the spiritual master is the Lord pleased. We cannot even think of approaching the Lord directly. He is completely pure and He will not accept our impure, mixed devotional service. Our spiritual master accepts our imperfect, impure devotional service, purifies it, and offers it to the Lord. And that is the only way we can do anything for Krishna. So, therefore, everyone should work for the satisfaction of Krishna. This is called yagya. That's what I read. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Would anybody else like to share?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So I read part of purport of 53 verse. In this, Prabhupada is mentioning about the yajna performed by Daksha. All the demigods expected prasada, the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Lord, but as the yajna is not, there was a destruction of yajna, so Lord Shiva did not get the prasada. So then Lord Brahma, he pacified him that he would get and assured him that he would get his share of prasada. So, in this way, Brahma requested Lord Shiva to rectify everything, like whatever happened, the destruction, whatever happened, that to please rectify, forgive Daksha and rectify him, and also. So, one should use perform this yajna to satisfy the Lord. When they, it's not those who engage in sense gratificatory materialistic activities must perform yajna, otherwise they will be implicated. I don't know the meaning of implicated. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. By the mediation of Lord Brahma, however, everything was settled satisfactorily. So, as we read in the previous verses also, Lord Brahma tries to pacify Lord Shiva by mentioning that he should be tolerant and he should forgive all this. So then, all those things. So finally Lord Shiva got convinced to forgive Daksha and and rectify everything, Mataji. So that's what I understood a little bit. You can add something if needed. Mataji.
Thank you so much, Lavanya Mataji.
Thank you,
Would
Mataji.
anybody else like to share?
So, from the last paragraph, actually, Prabhupada is sharing how it is not possible in the age of Kali to actually perform ritualistic performances like sacrifices like Daksha is doing. But he says that the Sankirtan Yagya is most beneficial in this age of Kali. So to perform these ritualistic ceremonies, actually we need a lot of resources, which involves a lot of money, a lot of people, and also a lot of qualified brahmanas who can actually chant the mantras in the proper meter, in the proper accent, and everything needs to be very perfect, because without that perfection one cannot receive the full benefit of the sacrifice they're performing. And also the very fact that he says in the purport that it is not possible for us to actually give that prasad to all the demigods, because there are 33,000 demigods, and even if one demigod is not pleased, then it is not proper. So he says that like Mataji was mentioning earlier, like when we the when we actually perform the sacrifice for the benefit of Vishnu, because actually in the beginning of every sacrifice, it is the benefactor of the yagya is invoked, and it is actually the very common mantra that we chant every day when we offer. We say what is that mantra? Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha. So that mantra actually says that everything is for the pleasure of the Lord. And generally, even now, like when we hear a Brahmana start a yagya, this is the first mantra that they chant. So this is to establish that the benefactor of this yagya is Krishna or Vishnu. And when Krishna and Vishnu are satisfied, then all the demigods are satisfied, because they are actually receiving all their powers from him, and they're actually performing their duties as a service to him. So by satisfying him, everyone else is satisfied. But when we are trying to satisfy each demigod separately, then it is very possible, very likely that we might forget one. Even if we forget one, then it's not the right way of doing it. So Prabhupada here is very, very clearly sharing that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the essence of all the Vedas, because all the Vedas actually share that remembering Krishna or is the goal of all the Vedas, is to remember Krishna. And by chanting Hare Krishna, we are able to remember Krishna and perform all our duties as a sacrifice to him for his pleasure. Then our life is perfect and successful. So that's what I got from the purport. I'm not sure if like all the devotees here know the story that has gone, that has happened till now. But it's always nice to hear again, even if you've heard it earlier. So just to give a brief of what happened so far is that Daksha is a Prajapati, and he's actually performing this sacrifice. And previous to that, Daksha had some kind of friction with Lord Shiva, because of which he does not invite Lord Shiva to come to the sacrificial arena. So Lord Shiva's wife Sati, because Daksha was was her father, she wanted to go because Daksha had invited everybody to come for the sacrifice, and all her family, her sisters, and even all the demigods were beautifully dressed, and then they're flying over Kailash, which she was able to see. And she was actually feeling this separation from her family, and she wanted to go and be part of the sacrifice. So Lord Shiva actually warns her and tells her that please don't go, because you were not invited. And she still decides to go, and along with her there are a few servants of Lord Shiva who actually follow her and to the sacrificial arena. Now, when she goes there, she sees that her father hasn't received her well, although her sisters and her mother, they give her some gifts and offer her a seat, but she doesn't feel satisfied, because her father, who she was very dear to, actually doesn't really receive her the way she thought of. And the purpose of her going for that yagya is so that she can actually establish the fact that Lord Shiva was a very great personality, and insulting him is not going to bring any good for anyone. But unfortunately, she's unable to make this point, because of which she actually decides to give up her body, because she has received that body from Daksha. So she actually jumps into the sacrificial fire and then gives her body. Then when Lord Shiva, which is the starting of this chapter, hears about this news. No, I think it's the previous chapter. So Lord Shiva actually he becomes very angry, and then with a hair put in the ground, he actually creates a demon who goes and then kills Daksha. Now, along with the demon, there are other people that we hear in today's verse who are actually just here the 51st verse, where actually Daksha, he's asking, Lord Brahma is asking Lord Shiva that, my dear Lord, by your mercy, the performer of the sacrifice, Daksha, may get back his life, because the demon has actually killed Daksha, and Bhaga may get back his eyes, Brigu his mustache, and Pushya his teeth. So actually all these were ruined during that fight that took place in the previous chapter. Then in the starting of this chapter, actually they all go to Lord Brahma, and Brahma actually suggests that please go to Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is very forgiving, and when we go and accept what we have done is not correct, he's going to forgive us, and then he'll help us through the situation. So then there is a long description of Kailash, like how beautiful the place is. And now actually there's this conversation where they're urging Lord Shiva to actually return what was lost during that fight that took place after Sati left her body. So this is kind of a brief of what happened so far. So please correct me as you see needed, and also please share for any points that I may have missed. So thank you.
Thank you, Premarasa, for the background of the story. I think it will be helpful for devotees who they may have already read this section, but if just in case like they did not, then it will be very helpful for the devotees. Would
Yeah,
anybody
thank you
else?
for refreshing my memory. I had read it a long while ago, but I had lost the sequence. Now that you explained it, it came back to me. So I was thankful for your summarization.
Thank you, Mataji. Is there something you'd like to add also?
It is said over there that Sati was carried away by her affection, and being of a womanly nature, she wanted to enjoy that time, that social being of a woman's nature, yeah, decorating herself very gorgeously and meeting all the family members. And she was so much looking forward to that she went against her husband's desires. She went against his instructions. He told her, the outcome is not going to be good for you. He made that very clear to her, because he knew that Daksha was inimical, and he would insult Sati, because he was inimical towards Shiva, he was going to be inimical towards his wife. So he had warned her, please don't go. But she, being carried away by her sentiments for her family, insisted on going. So then reluctantly, Lord Shiva, though he didn't accompany her, he sent all the followers, with her as an entourage. And of course, then once she reaches over there, she gets insulted, and she gets so, absolutely mortified by Daksha's behavior. The reason she immolates herself, she said, this body has come from you, my father. You have given birth to this body, and you have insulted my husband, who is, like my other, not other half, you can say, but Ardhangini, you say we have this principle of husband and wife are like one body, So she takes that insult so seriously. She says, I will destroy this body because you have insulted my husband. And that's how she ends her life.
Thank you, Sri Devi Mataji. And thank you for adding that. I also see, I believe Linda Mataji is on the call, and Ruchi Mataji and Rohini Mataji are also on the call if they would like to share something. Okay, that's fine. There is only one other point that came to my mind as we were discussing, and this is a question that I asked my Guru Maharaj. The position of Sati, because during one of our discussions, one of the devotees mentioned that Sati was under illusion, she was under Maya, under the influence of Maya, and therefore she did not follow the instructions of Lord Shiva. So I asked my spiritual master, because Sati is the consort of Lord Shiva, she is Maya herself. She is the external potency of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu. And my spiritual master, he agreed by saying that Sati is definitely not an ordinary woman. She is the external energy of the Lord. So this is a pastime. One should not think that Sati is under the influence of the three modes of material nature. As we, as living entities, we can be under the modes of material nature. It's not like that at all. She's a pure devotee of the Lord, and this is a pastime. Yeah,
Hare
that's
Krishna.
all from my side. Hare Krishna, Linda Mataji. Welcome back.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Is this oh boy. Who is speaking?
This is Leela Manjari.
Leela. Yes. Leela Marjorie, refresh my brain. What external energy means?
Okay. Yeah, the Supreme Lord has many potencies, many energies. And there are three main categories of energies. Of course, there are many, many, many of his energies, but three main categories. One is the internal potency of the Lord, who is represented by Srimati Radharani. So she is the pleasure potency of the Lord. She is the spiritual energy of the Lord. And the second category is the external energy of the Lord. So the external energy of the Lord is represented by Mother Durga, and she is none other than the shadow of Srimati Radharani. That's how it is described in scriptures, that the external energy is the shadow of Srimati Radharani. And 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 there is a third category who are called as Jiva. Jiva are tiny souls, and all of us fall into that category of tiny souls who are parts and parcels of Krishna, and they're called as Tathastha Shakti, or the marginal potency of the Lord. So the marginal potency is not independent. Sometimes it comes under the influence of the external energy, and sometimes it can come under the influence of the internal energy of the Lord. So, based on our desires, yeah, if we are trying to enjoy separate from Krishna, then the external energy of the Lord takes charge of us. We are influenced by her. But if we want to serve Krishna and surrender to Krishna, then the internal energy of the Lord, she influences us.
Influences us with.
Influences us means we are under her shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In the material world, everybody is in the care of Mother Durga or Maya Devi. She has many different names. Durga, Maya Devi, Chaya. So we are under the external potency of the Lord in the material world. But when we desire to serve the Lord, we come under the protection of Srimati Radharani.
I see.
Is it helpful?
Yes. 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 Yeah. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Leela Vanchini Mataji.
Hare
You explained it very nicely. Mataji, I have a question. Like, so when we are under the control of Mother Durga, so a lot of people they worship Durga. So at that time, how she takes that, like whether she maintains them in this particular Maya, or like will she help those devotees of her to come out of this Maya and worship Supreme Lord?
Hmm. This is a nice question, Mataji. And I can share what I have understood, and then maybe other devotees can also share. So Srila Prabhupada explains like this. He says that the Lord is like the Father, and the Father always loves his children. It's true, right? Like every father loves his children. Like so,
Mm.
um, but there are some children who do not listen to the father. They don't want to be under the care of the father. They're always wanting something different from the wish of the father. So, um, what the father does is, instead of keeping them at home, he sends them to a strict warden. The idea is still to love the child, but he feels that the child also needs some discipline, and that discipline is going to help the child. So he sends them to a strict warden, and Durga Devi is like that strict warden. She is not pleasant to deal with, but at the same time, everything she does is for the welfare of the child. So the when we are under the superintendence of Durga Devi, she carries a trident, and the trident has three spokes. So those three spokes are Adhyatmika, Adidaivika, and Adibhautika kleshas. What it means is she gives us three kinds of miseries: miseries that are caused by our mind, miseries that are caused by demigods, like earthquakes and um, forest fires, and severe rain and or cold or severe heat. And the third one is Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika. So, and the third category is miseries that are caused by other living entities. So, a conditioned soul who is under the care of the external energy of the Lord is always experiencing these three kinds of miseries. And when a conditioned soul experiences misery, then he wants to know, why am I suffering like this? And then that becomes an opportunity for him to turn towards Krishna. So we can either come directly to Krishna by association of devotees, or we can come because our life has become very difficult by these three types of kleshas. So she is bringing the conditioned soul to Krishna, but she is bringing in an indirect way. If other devotees want to add to this question.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, now I understood. Yeah, even I heard in one class that she she dips us and brings dips us out and in and out of this material ocean, material world, so that we can realize at some point of time we can realize what type of sufferings we are going through, and at last finally take shelter of Lord. Yeah, that's true. So I was thinking just like that. So many, I know so many relatives, they worship Mother Durga. So 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 eventually, at some point of time, we can have a hope that they will be worshiping Lord in the same type how they are doing how they are worshiping Mother Durga. Okay,
Yeah, but
thank you,
usually,
Mataji.
usually bhakti begins with association of a devotee. So since you are their family members and you are wishing that they become devotees, they by your presence in their lives or the presence of some other devotee, that bhakti creeper will grow.
Hmm. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, definitely. We'll see. Thank you very much, Mataji, for explaining. And we are missing you on our Guru Maharaj's call. Please join whenever it's possible for you, Mataji.
Yes, Nataji, I will definitely join. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Matajis, would any of you like to share anything more? I also see Manasi Ganga Mataji joined. So
I didn't catch, I'm still reading right now because I didn't catch, I just got on myself. So I'm not yet ready to ask any questions or give comments. Sorry.
thank you for joining, Mataji. Okay, we'll give it a few more minutes if somebody would like to share something. Otherwise, we can end a few minutes early today.
Let's see, what can we talk about? I know. Radharani and Sita, Mother Sita, are they the same?
Yes, Mataji, both of them are the spiritual energy of the Lord.
The
They are
external.
the spiritual energy, the internal energy of the Lord. Yeah,
Oh, internal.
yeah. All of
Okay.
the concerts of Lord Krishna are expansions of Srimati Radharani.
They're expansions from her.
Mhm.
So Radharani is the major
Yes,
element.
yes. Just like Krishna is the supreme person and his consort is Srimati Radharani. And from Krishna, all other incarnations of the Lord come. Similarly, from Radharani, all the concerts of the expansions also come from Radharani. They're
Right.
expansions of Radharani.
Yeah, I noticed. I go to the Krishna Culture Store, And I noticed that the statues of Sita are much more expensive than the ones of Radharani. Why is that?
You'll have to ask the people at the store.
Okay. Hmm.
So just to clarify a little bit more about your question, Linda Mataji, when Krishna comes as Lord Ram, his consort is Sita. I don't know if Mataji said that. So it's like a pair, like Krishna and Radharani are a pair, and Ram and Sita are a pair.
Mm.
So it's
Just
yeah.
saying that gives me goosebumps. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow. Wow. Yeah. There are so many books to be read that just being able to get through the Bhagavatam set is a challenge for me lately. Just like,
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada has given us so many gifts.
mm. Mm.
The purpose for reading all these books also is to learn who the Lord is. And it's definitely a worthwhile endeavor to see
Oh, yeah.
who God is. So it might be
Right.
cumbersome at times. And especially at the beginning, oh my gosh, I would be like, what does this mean? What does that mean? I mean, I went into when I first started going to the temple and hearing the morning lectures, I thought that they were speaking like a different language, even though they were speaking in English. I understood barely anything. And so as time goes on, and I'm sure you're understanding that as well, you're learning and understanding so much more, right?
Mhm.
But
Oh, yeah.
like yeah, just like you asked that question, it's important to ask questions so that you have a better understanding. And the next time you hear something related to that, it makes sense. So
Mhm.
I commend you for asking your questions. Continue to do so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, son. Thank you, dear.
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, I've noticed too getting oh my gosh, I mean, if I knew the clarity that I'm gaining and the calmness and the quietness to process all these thoughts, I would have taken Krishna consciousness a lot more seriously when I was younger. I mean, the impact of just going to the classes in the morning and talking with all the Matajis, it's leaving me in such a state of bliss that I'm doing things like studying. As I do this home study thing, and it's like before I was frustrated and nervous and you name it, unfocused. And in the past week, I've just become so much more calmer. I understand things so much better. It's remarkable what's happening.
And it's nice to see you in the morning program more regularly now too. So I think that what we can say is your chanting is probably improving because clarity comes through chanting.
Uh,
And peacefulness.
peacefulness and happiness and joy. Oh my God.
Mhm.
I was like,
Nice.
I get in the car with my son, because they like to drive fast, and I'm nervous wreck with them. But since I've been coming to the classes, it's like I've got this joy and this peace. Oh,
Keep it up. Our life is transformed right before our eyes.
Transformed, exact word, exact right wording.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So I do have a question with regards to the Mangalarti prayer sheets that I sent you. Were you able to figure out which song we were on? Because I put them in order. Like when I sent it, maybe they got out of order. Is that why? Or did you not staple them?
No, I have them in order. They're right here.
Did you ultimately find out what place we were on?
I think one or two of the prayers I found, but
Okay.
it was like every other page I would have to go through to find the prayer that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you've got it numbered one through 5, 6, 8.
Yeah, each section, right. So I